I'm very excited to have my next guest join us. She's the winner of the Rising Artist Award at this year's BRITs. She just dropped a brand new mixtape called One Foot in Front of the Other. It is Griff.
Hi.
There she is.
Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for being here. How are you?
Of course. Yes, I'm good. Sorry for the bad lighting. I'm in a dingy, dark studio in London, but I'm happy to be joining in.
I was about to say, this is impeccable lighting, and I love your background.
Thanks.
You're in a studio right now.
Yes.
assume that you're hard at work, so therefore your fit is not as glamorous as other shows that you've been on.
It's not quite. I'm sorry. I'm just in like a black jumper. I've just finished filming, but I'm changed now. So yeah.
I know that you are quite the fashion connoisseur.
Oh God. I try. I just like dressing up. I think that's all it is. I don't know if I'm a connoisseur, but I just like trying on clothes.
Well, I did my best for you. I got to say, I went through three different outfits myself. I didn't post them to the stories because I'm too embarrassed by those things.
I love that you've been watching the stories.
Yes. And I'm very impressed because I think the one thing that stands out about you that people will say is that she makes her own clothes.
People do like saying that, which is true. I do like sewing and I do like making clothes, and it's funny how much I think people like that side of me, which is cool.
Who are some of your inspirations from that side of things, from the fashion world?
Oh, I don't know. I've never really had like big fashion inspirations. I just really like the idea of making things. I think it's like another enjoyable process that like is similar to songwriting, where you have an idea and then you just like go for it.
You made your own outfit at the BRITs, which was so impressive. I mean, that was something you thought that a Vera Wang would have produced or something. Where were you going with that? Where did that inspiration come from?
I mean, look, if you look up closely, it looks like it's falling apart. But I guess I kind of embraced that. But I don't know, it was nice. I obviously needed to wear a dress that I could move around in. And I did this kind of patchwork satin eyeletted together dress. But honestly, I was kind of making it up on the spot. It came to 2 nights before the BRITs, and I told everyone I was going to make my dress, and then I was like, crap, I'm actually going to have to make it. And so I'm literally there like in the evenings, like night before, like on my machine, sewing it through and trying to figure out if it fits on my body. But I think it kind of worked, you know.
I was impressed by it. I'm no fashion expert, but I was like, wow, she looks great. And she did that by herself.
Cheers.
That's so awesome. What was the BRITs like? I mean, first of all, let's rewind for a second. How do you get that phone call? Who tells you you are the winner? Because there's only a handful of nominees. It's not like there's 6 people that are nominated.
Crazy. Honestly, I didn't even know we were running for it. I think I'd heard like, you know, my manager mention it, like the Critics' Choice Award, but I don't know, I didn't calculate in my head. And then my manager calls me up and is like, yeah, you've been nominated. And I'm like, what? Like for the BRITs, like the one that Adele's won, and like, you know, Sam Smith is one, like it's crazy. And then when I found out I won, I'd actually just finished a day of filming and I was kind of standing on the street corner in London getting my cab, and then the president of the label calls me up and is like, you know, you've won it. And then I just kind of screamed and I was like, no way, like this is not like in a year of pandemic to have managed to win a Brit. It's like it was the craziest feeling ever. Yeah.
And I love the reaction video. Now, tell me, how many takes did it take for you to film your mother and her very Asian response? And I can relate to this.
It's too much. That was 0 takes, and you know it. That was her on the spot. Like, hey, mum, I've won a Brit. Okay, well done. You know, move on. I'm like, for goodness sake, like give your girl a hug or something, you know?
It's like it's Wednesday, the trash has to be taken out.
No, I know. Well, what she went on to say after that video is like, she's like, well, you know, what do you want me to do? Like, I guess for me, it was a celebration when I made it over to England in a boat and I was alive. Like, so, you know, well done you for winning a Brit. I was like, well, you know, great.
Parents always have a way of just bringing you back down.
100%.
I certainly want to touch upon some of your influences, and you know, we just spoke about your mother and you know, her struggles and things like that. But your dad is the musical one in the family, from what I understand. He plays music, he sings things, right?
Yeah.
Were you aspiring to, I don't know, not emulate or be like him as you were younger and growing up?
Not at all. I don't know if any daughter wants to be like their dad. I don't know. I think I've inherited kind of the love for music from him. So I definitely have to give credit there. And I think he was very intentional about like making sure as kids we listened to a lot of like black music and like really appreciated that side of soul and R&B music. So I definitely owe that to him. But I don't know that it was that I was emulating him. I think it was more just that I don't know, I just loved music. And I think as a kid you have a lot of spare time, and we weren't really allowed to watch TV in the week. So what do? You practice piano and sing, so yeah.
Interesting. And then someone, who is this? You got to tell me who this someone is, gave you an iPod filled with Taylor Swift songs.
Yes.
It changed your trajectory.
Yeah, it was my cousin. This happened quite early on, actually. My cousin gave me this iPod Nano, and I think it was actually his girlfriend's, and it had this Taylor Swift album, Fearless, on it. And then, so this was like I was listening to like electronic pop. This was like when I was still listening to a lot of R&B and soul and stuff. And suddenly listening to like Taylor Swift and these kind of relatable lyrics and major melodies and stuff, like I just fell in love with it completely. And so, yeah, that was kind of my first introduction to like pop music. Yeah.
Was there a song that really stuck out to you that basically set you off in making your own music instead of just doing covers and treating it as a hobby?
Oh, I don't know. It kind of happened all simultaneously. I don't think that was like one song. Like I loved listening to that album, and then I don't know, I would just write songs and do covers, and but it wasn't that I was putting it out into the world. It was private. Like it was just kind of for me in my bedroom. So yeah.
How are you digging all these Taylor's versions of all the albums?
I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. I feel like this year I've got all the music from Taylor and it's incredible. And like even chatting to her at the Brits, I was like, what are you up to now? She was like, I'm re-recording Red. I was like, this is great. I'm so ready for it all.
Now, you just dropped the mixtape. Your profile has certainly grown throughout this time. I think people being holed up and stumbling upon, being exposed to, sharing various artists has enabled your growth. And so creating music during this time where you're not able to see people's reactions and be able to say, okay, I'm on the right path. How did you approach this collection of material versus Mirror Talk?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we kind of didn't stop when the world stopped during lockdown. And I was releasing so many songs, like a new single every 6 weeks. And it was like kind of deflating because I didn't know if anyone was listening to it. I didn't know if anyone cared. All I knew is that we had to keep on going. And then whilst we were releasing that music, I was kind of writing this mixtape. And yeah, I don't know, I think it just forced me to dig quite deep, and I was so uninspired. And so I think but when you're in isolation, you have no choice but to kind of like be alone with your thoughts. And so I guess the result of that has been this mixtape, and I've just had to figure out what it is I want to say and put it into these songs. So yeah. And
without any experiences, how far back did you go in your life for inspiration and reference points?
Whoa. I think you always grab from any point in your life. I don't know. I think a lot of it was present tense emotion. Like the whole mixtape, I think, describes this journey of like recovery and figuring out how to heal. And I think that's a very present tense emotion that also involves a lot of reflection. So yeah.
And the album cover, the cover for the mixtape is also very reflective of where you're at right now. You just turned 20 and you're approaching adulthood, from what I understand, with trepidation.
I am.
That's a very interesting point of view. Whereas I think some people who turn 20 are excited about their 20s. What is it about the 20s that is putting you in this cautious place?
Oh, I think the reality of it is what I guess my job is, which is music. But I think as like, especially as like a young girl, I think your selling point is always your age. It's like, and I've been so used to, walking into labels and them going, she's 17. Oh my God, she's a teenager. And then suddenly as you turn 20, it's like that kind of appeal like kind of dwindles. So I think that's the reality of like the fear, to be honest. But no, 20 is great, and I'm excited for what's to come. So yeah.
You're not the first person who's turned 20 with trepidation.
Yeah. Responsibility's real. I'm growing up. The world is scary. Like we're in a pandemic. Like it's all terrifying. And so I think, yeah, that feeling has definitely made its way into my lyrics. And then that's why the artwork is that feeling of like walking a tightrope. You know, it's like at any point you feel like you could fall, and it's quite vulnerable.
Well, I'm a big fan of your music. I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to hear what you have coming up. Take your time, and certainly look forward to seeing you perform live here in the US at some point.
Lovely to meet you. And hopefully next time this is going to be in person.